Okay, so you guys have probably heard stories of dolphins and sharks having some pretty crazy encounters. If you guys are not too familiar, dolphins and sharks have a long history of dolphins protecting swimmers from shark attacks and dolphins ramming sharks in the gills to actually keep them away from their newborn calves. And so it's all, with how long of the history we have of the ocean and folklore of dolphins doing this, and just in the general history, you probably have at least heard of it. So, dolphins are often not criticized, but critiqued as the smartest creatures in the ocean. And yes, they are very intelligent creatures. However, they actually are on the food source for sharks, especially sharks like the great white. So if you guys are not already familiar, great white sharks are what we would call an ambush hunter. They don't like to go after prey that's aware of them or use their actual strength to take down larger creatures. To them, they would much rather use strategies to sneak up and catch seals, smaller sharks, tuna, whatever they can actually catch without, spending all of their energy. But dolphins are a creature that, when you think of them, you think of a sleek design. They're very smart. They're very fast. They are very agile. And so you don't really think that a creature like a great white shark is going to actually view dolphins as a food source. People don't seem to remember, though, that, like every creature in the ocean, dolphins have an age expectancy. They die. They don't stay young forever. Dolphins can, I believe, live up to about 20, 25 years old in the wild, even older, but they are on the food source for things like great white sharks. It's actually, I've heard several stories of dolphin pods protecting their young calves from when a great white shark's in the area, but the older dolphin can't keep up with it and actually ends up getting attacked and killed by a great white shark. The big thing that dolphins have when they are attacked by sharks like great white sharks is numbers advantage. If you have a pod of 20 dolphins that are very determined to not let one of them get eaten by this shark, they're going to be able to keep this 15-foot long great white shark at bay. However, a great white shark's bite is more than enough to kill a dolphin. I mean, I have seen so many images and pictures and actually some cool videos of sharks catching and eating dolphins. I know it's sad to a lot of you. I actually won't use any images minus the thumbnail in the video for a reason. I do think it is sad for a lot of people to see dolphins being eaten as a food source. It is just nature, but I understand for a lot of people growing up, especially when they're younger age, dolphins are seen as this majestic ocean creature. You probably don't want to see one bitten in half. That is fair. But it is also kind of cool to think that a shark that isn't considered very intelligent, despite being very intelligent, as a creature that is capable of catching and eating bottlenose dolphins, spinner dolphins, yet we do actually see it happening. And some of the reasons that I personally think dolphins aren't really seen as a large food source in the eyes of people who study sharks or just look at ocean life and marine biology in general is the fact that we don't normally see this behavior. We don't get out enough. There's only 7% of the ocean that's been fully explored, and we only know so little. So I promise you that don't understand the whole grasp of it. What I can tell you is older dolphins find themselves at risk of being killed by great white sharks. Even large bull sharks or tiger sharks could probably go after a dolphin. I think a young mother that was possibly just given birth in weak could also die to a great white shark or be found herself an easy prey to a white shark. I would imagine dolphins that are kicked out of their pod find themselves at risk to great white sharks and other sharks. So it just kind of goes to show that the power dolphins have is within the pod. And when dolphins are too weak to remain in the pod, or for some reason they're kicked out, or for whatever reason, that actually can harm the pod. You actually will, there's plenty of stories out there of swimmers or surfers who fall off their board and there's dolphins, and then there's a great white shark or a bull shark, and the dolphins will actually protect the person. That's a part of their pod. But you can definitely imagine if that pod has weak links, a shark, especially one like a great white shark that we already know targets the weakest link when we see them hunting seals, off Cape Cod, they'll often hit the back seal in the group, they'll often hit the weakest link. A great white shark will absolutely be able to notice a dolphin being injured. Plus, imagine a dolphin gets, for some reason, an injury and is bleeding. That is going to drive a shark crazy. It really just isn't worth the risk for the pod to let all of them be at risk by having this one injured dolphin, than by just letting them go and they have to figure it out on their own. And also, I believe, I haven't studied a lot on dolphins, but it's incredibly hard for them to live a solo life. They hunt as a pod. They school fish into a ball. It's very cool to watch. You actually will, see videos of dolphins doing all the work of making these fish. They form a ball by swimming around, forcing the fish to the surface. You'll see plenty of videos of there being bottlenose dolphins that do this work, and there's spinner sharks that are feasting on the fish. They're not going after the dolphins. They're the same size as these bottlenose dolphins. You'll see birds that are also feasting on the dolphins' work. So the ecosystem really does have a need for dolphins for when they do that. It feeds all these other creatures. So you will see sharks and dolphins in the same waters and not be seen as a friend and foe. But on top of all that, if you have a weak link in the dolphin's pod, or don't have a single dolphin that isn't in the pod, it isn't able to do that. So I would imagine a weak dolphin, a 7 or 8 foot weak dolphin, is a phenomenal food source for a 15-foot great white shark. It just is the truth. If you guys don't like that, I mean, it kind of just sadly is what it is. Also, things like orcas, also a dolphin, just a much larger dolphin, they also will eat dolphins. There's been plenty of talks about that recently. It's all really interesting. I think it's crazy that great white sharks actually can use dolphins as a food source, because dolphins are often considered the most intelligent creature in the ocean. And the fact that a stupid shark is actually more than capable of using it as a food source is pretty cool to me. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you guys are not already subscribed, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Also, I want to know what other shark videos I should do. I have a lot of ideas. It's just really hard to go from doing this and everything else I do to actually producing the videos and posting them if no one wants to watch them. So even watching this video, as long as you have, if you've made it to this point, it means a lot to me. Leaving a like and a nice comment also just means a lot to me. And there's also a Discord server you guys can join if you want to talk about sharks and really anything else that interests you. Anyways, like I said, hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.